Hello everyone, today we have this dual mutants, both level 18. So it's gonna be a bit different today because I want to show you not just the drill by drills, not just the math, but I want to show you something that I've seen a lot in the comments. I've seen a lot from new people as well, that they have something very basic. It's like for them is how is it possible that you can have great attributes at 1%, or how is it that they are so negative? How are the white stats so high? And I'm going to start showing you this, and I'm going to skip much of the math. I'm going to skip a lot of the drills, and I'm going to leave that in the comment section so you can read and copy and paste and have like that guide step-by-step drills. But here I'm going to show you for the new people, for the ones that are still wondering how is it possible that a mutant is created, who really don't understand that, and it's something so basic that I want everyone to know. So here, for example, is the player that I just saw from level 4 account to a level 7. You can see that that's not a normal 40% 18 years old, right? Some white stats are high, but it's not like it's super high. It's like normal, right? It's just a little bit higher than what usually you find in auctions. And now there's something different. Now it's like those skills are a little bit higher than normal. Notice that positioning, that bravery. So this is gonna be the second time. This is gonna be the second time that we're gonna do the same thing. Instead of going from level 4 to 7, now it's gonna be sold from 7 to 10. And the offer was accepted. Boom. So you have that, the same process repeated. And now watch these stats. Now it's a little bit higher, right? A little bit higher, but not too much. Also notice the reasoning behind all that math and all those drills that I give you. The reasoning is I want positioning higher first, then I want bravery. That is why I give you the first drills that are video analysis, use your head, pick in the middle, so I can have 340% in positioning. And that's the reason why I need bravery so high. I give you stop the attacker shuttle runs. Right, and you're seeing that in the training, 340% positioning first, 340% in bravery second, and you start to see like a big change from normal players. So this is a mutant level 7 if you take into account the season that you have to wait between negotiations. And so we train one more time, right, because we have to sell this thing again. It's a tedious process, I know, but you can cut short if you just make one big jump of six levels. This, for example, is the third time. So we're wondering there, what are the stats? We're making the offer. So this time it's jumping from a level, this time it's jumping 3 levels. So that's a level 9, but you have to take into consideration 2 seasons that you had to wait because you can only sell once per season. So that's 11, a mutant level 11, and you can see those tackling, marking, positioning, bravery. It's like way higher than normal for a 40%. And so we train again. Now notice this thing. I'm not starting with video analysis because this is the thing. In the guide that I'm gonna leave in the comments, in here you can calculate even. It's like you can see that it's video analysis first, but if you try to do the math, you're gonna notice that the values that you have in positioning, in creativity, in bravery start to go higher. So you skip the first drill or the second. And as the mutant increases, you're gonna notice that you're gonna use those first steps little and then less and then less, and then at some point at level 15 it's gonna change. Like all the drills are gonna change because the math is completely different. But the concept is the same. You need to increase positioning first, bravery second, then go marking, then go tackling, then go dribbling, and so on. This is the 4th time. Like this is big. And you're gonna see that in the white stats. Notice the increase, like every time I get that 40%, after I get the mutant sold to a higher account, those white stats get ridiculously high. Like watch this. See, 251%. Like that is a mutant that is very high level. That's like level 13, 15. I mean, this is a high level mutant. and you continue. This is going to be now again the same concepts, but notice again positioning 340%. This is like the concept behind the drills. This is like the concept behind the math. You have to increase positioning first because it has no maintenance, because it drops, and once that it drops, it loses 20% every time you promote in league. So there is a concept behind the drills that I give you. And again, some of these drills are going to start to change around level 15. So for example here, I'm not going to use video analysis as I mentioned before. I start with pick in the middle. The pick in the middle gives me tackling almost close to 340%. So I can just complete that with one-on-one finishing, which is what I'm doing. And normally I wouldn't be able to do that even after doing stop the attacker, which increases tackling. But because it is a high level mutant, because some of those white stats are very, very high, now I can give myself the luxury to just end that with 2, and thus changing the drill sequence. And again, stop the attacker just a little bit because those white stats are very, very high. The only thing that is allowing you to do this is because it has strength, like a negative stats. Those negative stats are like very like 190% at this point, negative. That's why you can do stop the attacker. But you know, you're gonna cut short. Like these drills usually will be like 15% of stop the attacker, and then another 20% of the next. Now it's gonna be like 5% of stop the attacker and like 10% of shuttle runs or something like that, because you're getting closer and you're using different drills and the map is changing. So here again, we're gonna work with set-piece delivery. Now set-piece delivery is a drill that I only want for marking. In this case, not now, but I'm gonna use it later to increase also crossing. And you're gonna see that, 340% in the entire defense. And the average is 245. So you can see that heading is very, very negative at this point, and it's allowing me to do much of the things that I'm doing right now, right? And again, we continue with that a little bit, increase shooting. This player is gonna be sold now once he reaches 140%. So it means that it's going to an account that is 5 levels higher, right? But it's not just gonna be trained with the drills, it's gonna be done in a different way. Like I use a lot the premium sponsor, I use a lot the man of the match. So this way I increase a lot the efficiency. And here you can see, I'm purchasing the player once he got to, and the main account is at 166 and this other is at 169. But because it is being purchased 5 levels higher, you see it as only 66 and 69. And again, I use a lot the premium sponsor. Again, I don't put money in the game. I just play a lot of tournament and I get money, I get premium sponsors, I get official items. And because of that, I'm doing this. I'm not like telling you have to spend money. I'm just telling you what I did. And this is because I won some tournaments and I got some extra money, like $5 is not too much. And you can increase the efficiency like this, and it's like very fun because it's just white stats. Like for example this player, right? And you give it this and it's just like insane creativity again. And you can improve everything like this, and it's so efficient. And having a second ability is, it's gold. A little bit of shooting, strength for this one that you don't need. You don't need strength for RMC, so skip that one. And you give him more of this. It's really cool to see this thing increase like that. And of course, buying the premium sponsor. I think it's like the best thing you can do, like best if you're gonna spend. You have $5 and you get 50 res, and for $5 you can also purchase the monthly car, and it's like 100 res if you use those 100 tokens. But here you have the ability, and and other attributes, and you can, I mean, I think it's the best you can do if you're gonna use money. So again, I use again, this is the second player. I'm not telling you to use money, but if you win tournaments and you get like $50 here, $30 there, and some 3-4 guys give you premium sponsors, you can do this. And the second ability plus the new ability is something that helps. Like for example, this particular player, I'm fascinated by this one because with the new ability, it's set for defenders, right? But you can move this ML to a DL or a DR, and the only thing that it doesn't have is aggression. So you're gonna have the best advantage of the ability because it's gonna be able to do those crossing. It's gonna be able to defend like it should because of the ability, because it's a defender. And the only thing that it's gonna have that it's not gonna have is gonna be aggression. And it can play everywhere. These two things can move all over the place. And the little sign is gonna be yellow. It's not gonna be red. So the performance of the player is not gonna be dramatically low. It's gonna be okay. Get it? This is why I'm fascinated with this player. This is why I gave it so many roles. It's just, for me, it's like the best thing you can do. Okay, so you buy the premium sponsor. You give him all the attributes, all the advantages you can. You get all these things. You know, maybe I can make a tournament later and like, yeah, I'm gonna make a tournament and say, give some of these items to the people that beat me or something like that. It should be fun. Maybe next season I'll do that one. So you get these players, you get the ability, you get the attributes. Very fun. Don't get too excited about these Nordeus generator players, so they are horrible. Great stats through the roof. So again, you purchase those players and it's amazing, you get it. Now you're gonna notice here in the main account, I'm not showing you the rest, and also you're gonna notice the drills. The drills are gonna change drastically because at this point it's like it's different, okay? And you can train differently. I mean, the way I like to do it is defensive first and then offensive. And the reason is because the two main attributes, positioning and bravery, which you cannot maintain once you train the player to 180, it's like if you cannot maintain that, you have to train it. And because of it, I like to start with the defensive ones. And the first thing is positioning. Now, if you're gonna do this, which is a mutant level 18, if you add the months that I had to wait, which is it will be like level 22. But let's, for the sake of the argument, just consider the basic, the account that it was bought and the account that received the player. It's a level 18, right? So you work on positioning again. And for this to happen, for this to work, you have to have aggression and you have to have heading very, very negative, like around 250% negative. And this is only possible if throughout the entire process that I showed you previously, you did as I said in the guide and you didn't skip or do something else. You have to be like ridiculously rigorous because this takes months. And if you make one mistake and heading is not below negative 250%, you're gonna have problem. If aggression is not below 220% negative, you're gonna have problem because you're not gonna be able to raise positioning with pick in the middle and use your head. And if you can't do that, then positioning is low, you cannot maintain that, and the player is gonna be trash because it's not gonna last until retirement. We want this player to be ready, performing above 250%, even when he's 30 years old. This is the goal of a high-level mutant, to perform. And you're gonna notice as the player gets older, it's like performance drop. It's not the same a 22-year-old player than a 30-year-old player. You can beat, say, a 30-year-old team. Like if you have a team that has all players at 30, and that team has amazing mutants, and say you have only well-trained players, like non-mutants, at 22-year-old, you can beat that player. It's like you can beat that team so bad is crazy because the performance drop. So when you're making this kind of mutants like a level 18, you want to make sure that performance is going to be there. And you can see some of these drills are changing. You can see that, you know, I'm using like the same as the previous one, but it's easy. If I could show you my res, you will see I'm spending so little right now. And it's a 22-year-old. And I'm spending so little. Because again, the negative values make the calculation, make the math so accessible. Normal people, like it would be like training using the 180 rule. I'm using the 120. And it's so cheap. It's so easy. A player like this will cost you maybe, you know, making it normal, like a normal MC will be like 1,500 rest. For me, it's like 800, maybe less. Because again, it's all about those negative values. It's all about that math. And what you get as the player gets older is like a reduction of that training speed. What you get when you buy a fast trainer is an increase of that training speed. But if the math checks below the 120 rule, I mean that among the attributes that are involved in the training, the average is below 120, the cost is ridiculously decreased. And so you can train a lot of mutants. You know, this is advantages in two ways. They can perform very well, but they're also cheap. So you don't have to spend a lot of money or none at all if you make friendlies. And then again, you know, we increase dribbling because dribbling is very important. When you're making those assists, those passes, the player needs to be able to do something. And again, you know, it's like super easy. Fitness speed is gonna go easy with Carioca and Gym. Easy. The one that's gonna cost you a lot is positioning. You're gonna have to increase positioning. If you didn't have to increase so much positioning, it would be much cheaper. But given that, you know, it's gonna be an attribute that you're not gonna be able to maintain, you're gonna have to spend on that. It's the only thing about the MC that is like a problem. And here, you know, to finish this, we increase shooting because we need something kind of decent. Again, the player is gonna be trained first defensively, and as the season changes, as you get promoted in league and you lose those 20%, you're gonna start training the attacking attributes. So next season is gonna drop tackling 320, marking 320, bravery 320, which you cannot maintain, positioning 300, which you cannot maintain, and you can increase more shooting or crossing or dribbling, right? And that's it, a beautiful MC. And then we have the other version that I show you. This is something that I'm training slowly for tournaments. So there you go, a perfect assist.